I think it's time. Hey folks, it's Mary, aka MercyTriumphs, and this is Slow Crochet. Today I want y'all to see what I'm seeing, which is where I keep my yarn. And right now it is a little bit of a mess. I have things pulled out, but what I am realizing is that I have a lot of stuff. I have a lot of yarny things that I've made. I have hats, I have scarves, I have cowls, I even have some shawls, and I think what I need to do is I need to start filtering down the things that I've made and deciding what to keep and what to say goodbye to. One of the ways that I make sure that crochet continues to be something that brings me joy and peace is that I'm continually looking at the yarn that I have, the things that I've made, and making sure that I'm only hanging on to things that bring me joy and things that fit in the space that I've allotted to it. When I was growing up, I used to have all kinds of collections, all kinds of toys all over, and I always had trouble keeping my room clean. As an adult, I've learned that I really like living in clean spaces, and they bring me a lot of peace and a lot of joy. Sometimes the physical environment, if that is peaceful and calm, it can help actually mediate some of the chaos that you really can't control, others' emotions, all the pieces of life that just are big and wonderful and challenging at times too. So I don't want to have my crochet and my yarn so overflowing that when I look at my little yarny space that I feel overwhelmed. So let me show you what I'm seeing. All right, so here we are. I have some yarn with some yarn barf. I need to start those projects. I have a few containers that are out. I have notions that are hanging out. Here's my yarn. Here's a few little books. Here's what you normally see behind me. And this is the rest of the shelf. So in this square we have cowls and scarves and ear warmers. And behind the yarn and the critters, we have hats. And then way up here are the bits of amigurumi, some scrap projects, and then I have what the children work with when they want to try to crochet, and then I even have some bits and pieces of scraps back there that I'll sometimes use to stuff with. So this is what I'm working with. This isn't going to be a yarn organization video, but I do think if I can clear out and kind of consolidate these top two places, then I'll be able to, number one, put some stuff aside for donations so that people can use these wonderful things that I've made. And then I'll also have a little bit more space where I can maybe feature some of the amigurumi or something like that. We'll see. All right, let's start with hats. I'm going to narrow this down because I have so many hats and only one head. A lot of these you have seen me making them on the channel. That's okay. It doesn't mean I have to keep it just because I made it, or just because it's a fancy fiber doesn't mean that I have to keep it. There is one that I am going to keep. I just keep it in with the rest of my hats. This is my grandfather's beret that he picked up in Basque. Is that France, I believe? So this is really precious to me, and I keep it with my other hats because when I'm going to pull something to wear, this is something that I like to pull from as well. Here are two hats. These are Seafarer's Caps by Beth Hall. You saw me making several of these. The question is, do I want to keep them? They are both 100% wool. I'm going to put these in the maybe category because I am going to have to ask the other members of my family, particularly the ones that aren't necessarily as attracted to the pinks and purples, but maybe that brown is kind of a good gender neutral color. So I'll put these in the maybe, ask the family. Then I have my Malabrigo corner to corner hat from the tutorial. This one, I can tell you right now, I can donate. I have a beautiful beret that I just finished not that long ago. This is using a wool cashmere blend. I'm gonna put this one in the maybe. This is one of Crystal from Bag-O-Day Crochets. This is one of her beanies that's just beautiful. I have it worked up in another Noro yarn, and I'm not sure what it is, but I'm pretty sure that it will be like a hand wash. I'm sure there's a wool content in this. Pretty as this is, it's going to be donated. Here's another one of Crystal's hats, again in a wool. This one will also be donated. And then I have these two that are really similar. This one is a linked treble and single crochet herringbone stitch. This was made out of Queensland Brisbane yarn, which is 100%, I believe it's superwash wool, but it might just be regular wool. Love, love, love the colors there. And this was kind of based on the bush tracker beanie. It was almost like my version of it. So I just kind of switched out some of the stitches to give a similar feel. Really, really love how that came out, but I'm not going to keep this one. I just don't see myself pulling this one when I'm going to find a hat to wear. This is another hat. This one I believe was from Plymouth Yarns. It's absolutely beautiful, and this is a pattern again by Crystal that I've used several different times, and this is my go-to when I have 100 yards of either a bulky weight or a worsted weight yarn. 100-yard beanie. I think that that is such a phenomenal design with this kind of self-striping yarn. I think it's really beautiful. I'm gonna put this one in the maybe. Here's another beret. This one is based, I believe, on the Fanny beret. I didn't follow that pattern exactly, and it is another Noro yarn, but this one I know has some cotton and some silk in it. I think it's really beautiful. Again, is this one that I pull from? Yeah, actually I do kind of wear this. It's a nice kind of accent to some of the neutrals that I wear and some of the greens, but I am still going to put this in the maybe category. Here is another beret. This one, you know what, I am going to let this one go. It is really gorgeous. It's acrylic. I love that color of green, but it's going to be an easy care one, and I'm sure that someone else is going to get greater joy out of this than I will. Lots of versions of the same hat. Here we go again. This is a Copper Corgi Fibers wool hat, and this one is again my corner to corner beanie. I'm gonna let this one go. So another version of Crystal's hat with like these beautiful, oh my goodness, this one is really gorgeous. I finished this one not that long ago, so I might need to let me put this one in the maybe. Again, beautiful, beautiful design here. I think it's just lovely. That'll definitely be a maybe. Then I have a puff stitch beanie. I do have a cowl that is made out of this exact same yarn, and this one is another kind of fluffy, another hand wash yarn with some wool content. Yeah, I'm gonna put this one in maybe. But here's one that I'm not gonna put in the maybe. This one is 100% superwash merino. It's super big and fluffy. It was based on one of those hat designs that I just got wrong a little bit. Never quite fit quite right, but I think it would be great for someone with a larger head, and I think it would be good for a man or a woman. That one will be donated. Another one to be donated. Okay, so this one I kind of premeditated on. This is the Divine hat, and it is again in Queensland Brisbane. Love, love, love this hat. Love the color of it. I think I actually made one before, and then I made another because I gave it away. Anyhow, someone else will get a lot of joy out of this bright yellow color. Oh, okay, let's back it up. This one actually, okay, so I was wrong. This one was my version of the bush tracker beanie. So that's where I had the single crochet herringbone. Okay, so the other one, this other one must have been an experiment that I was doing. Hey, okay, so that's kind of cool. I wonder if this would have looked better if it had been in just a solid color of yarn. That might be something that I revisit in the future, because linked treble crochets are one of the stitches that I really like, and they don't really get a lot of attention. So, okay, this one was the bush tracker. This was an experiment. This one was Queensland Brisbane. This one was Malabrigo. Both of them are going to be donated. I have a baby alpaca hat. This one is staying for sure, okay? This one is staying. It is super soft, super sweet, and you know what? These two are really similar. Now, this one was originally a Crystal bubble stitch beanie, and she made it as a slouchy. I kind of threaded the needle between slouchy and regular size, so it didn't ever quite fit right. So I know, between these two, I'd rather keep this one. And speaking of baubles, here's a happy little spotty bauble hat, super cute. The background is more of that birch tweed acrylic, and I think this might be wool. I think I'm gonna put this one in the maybe, because I can see myself pulling this one when I need a good hat. This is the Lakeside beanie. It's very straightforward on top, but it comes into some front post, back post double crochet, which makes a really effective kind of ear warmer. I really love this one, so I'm gonna keep this one too. All right, in the other keep piles, my most recent crystal hat. I'm keeping this one for sure, made out of that Malabrigo Rustita. I'm gonna keep this beret, which is made out of some kind of wool, but I just think it turned out so beautifully. This one was a mandala design that I kind of fudged into a beret, so I love that. Okay, and then this was my experiment doing some color work. The floats are pretty extreme, so I don't know that this would really be good to donate. I'm not entirely sure what I'm gonna do with this one, so I'm gonna set this aside for now. So let's then think, what do I actually want to keep? When I think about these three different hats, they kind of tell the same story, right? They're a little bit eye-catching. They might pull a very simple outfit together. You know, I'm definitely gonna keep this beret just because I find myself reaching for it more often than not. You know what? I really like this one, but I think I can let it go. Same with this one. Counting Granddaddy's beret, I have 3 berets and I have 3 beanies. And then I have these 2 possibilities. Now, these are not all the hats that I have. I do have a set of hats that are in the same kind of superwash merino that I just made a bunch of different designs, and those are definitely the family hats. So those are ones that have held up for me in the wash. They've been wonderful. Those are not included in this set here, so I'm hanging on to those. So you still might see some other ones from time to time. Okay, we're making progress, y'all. This is a little bit easier than I thought it would be. All right, these are ear warmers, these are cowls, these are small shawls. Let's get into them. A lot of these are from Noro yarn. I really like this little headband. I think I can see myself wearing this, especially with my hair down in the winters. I'm gonna hang on to this one. This one was just a sample of a stitch pattern, similar yarn, maybe even the exact same yarn, but this one I know I will not reach for, so that one is gonna be donated. Then I have this beautiful all acrylic kind of tulip stitch headband. Pretty as it is, I just don't see myself wearing it, and I haven't worn it ever since I made it. Whew. All right, bobble stitch, little neckerchief. You are gonna stay with me. Y'all, thank you for all your compliments on this color of green. I'm definitely keeping that one. Another little neckerchief. This was made out of sock yarn. I know that I can let this one go without too much trouble. This was another wool that I was trying out. Beautiful little kind of almond wave stitch pattern there, ear warmer. Someone else will get a lot of joy from it. And then this is also a very basic little ear warmer. Yeah, I think someone else will enjoy this better than I will. Here is the shawl that I made for one of the Mood Board make-alongs using Crystal over at Bag A Day, using her Pure Innocence shawl. Love, love, love this one. It's not going anywhere. I will keep that. And then here is a really straightforward little cowl. It's made out of the moss stitch, and it's really hard to go wrong, but I was using a texture of yarn. I think it was Plymouth, like Mojito Merino. It was a really kind of bobbly texture, and I wanted it because it was kind of a souvenir from one of the little yarn shops I visited, and I paired it with Wool Ease. Beautiful as this is, I just know it's not something I tend to reach for, so I'm gonna let this one go. Oh my goodness. This one I might have to offer to someone in the family. They have a matching hat to go with this. Man, I just wish that I wore scarves more often. This was I think either my first or second attempt at cables. This is more Queensland, Brisbane. And the scarf itself is not crazy long. It's maybe 4 feet, maybe 4.5. But yeah, nice and heavy, nice and thick. I think I'll offer this to a family member, but if they don't want it, then it will definitely be donated. Because y'all, I just don't pull from it. I just don't pull this when I'm looking for this particular color. Much as I love it, as wonderful as it is, yeah, I can only keep so much. So someone else definitely will appreciate this more than it just sitting on my shelf for another season. Beautiful cowl from a local yarn dyer that I don't believe is in operation anymore. This is again based on this hat, this pattern by Crystal at Bag A Day. This one for sure I'm keeping. Another Bag A Day pattern is this star stitched cowl. This one is more of an infinity scarf. I used more Noro yarn, and I believe it was Coreopatora. I think it was Coreopatora. It's the name Cleopatra in Japanese. Really gorgeous. These are my colors. I think I'm gonna keep this one just because when I need something a little bit kind of spunky, those browns and those greens, I think that'll be a wonderful solution. And even though it is a lot of wool in these particular colors, it's not super scratchy. I think it's okay. I've worn this several times in the past and enjoyed it, so this one's gonna stay with me. This one took me a very, very long time. This is Red Heart Unforgettable, and it is all single crochet herringbone. This was a labor of love, and it tapers down at the end. But y'all, I'm gonna tell you right now, I am not keeping this scarf. Someone else will love it. It is a little bit high maintenance of a yarn, even though it says it's washable, but I just wouldn't wanna wash the way that that's a robing style. I'd want it to stay nice. So that'll be a hand wash yarn, but absolutely lovely. I think I found this yarn at maybe Ollie's for a pretty good deal, and so it was my first time using Unforgettable, and I really wanted to show it off, so I think it really was the best project for that yarn. But I don't ever wear it, and someone else will. Another cowl, another star stitch cowl. This one was some yarn that I picked up in Jackson, Tennessee at Grinning Soul Crochet. Really love how this turned out. I might need to go in and kind of trim off some of the little bits of fuzz here and there, but I think the colors are really pretty. I kind of do wear a little bit of these colors. I feel like I could, maybe even in the next little bit, I'll match like some sets, like some neck things with some hats. We'll do that here in a minute. This one is staying for sure. Here we have 2 thick layers of cashmere. This was a labor of love, and I collaborated with Shannon over at Shannon Talks Yarn, and we did a Use Your Fancy Favorite Fibers February idea. Y'all, I know, I mean, this feels wonderful. It's lovely and soft, but I'm not gonna keep it. Someone else, y'all, someone else is gonna be so excited to have this cashmere, and it's reversible, so you could have the blue to the outside. And to be honest, I do have a few other pieces that I made in this yarn, and I think I'll be able to still enjoy it and still have that fun without having to keep it all just for myself. I have this alpaca scarf. This is a scarf that I think is so classic that I think it would be a shame to let go of it, just because as my children get older, you know, sometimes there's pieces that you just want to hang on to for them to get them started in life and get their little stash started for winter weather and like looking really classy. I mean, I think this would be such a great scarf to go over like a men's overcoat or something like that. So my children, again, are really young, but the chances of me remaking this exact thing in this beautiful slate gray alpaca, slim to none. So let me put this in the maybe. Probably gonna hang on to it, but it might have to go into a different location. And my last piece is this big old Tunisian crochet cowl. This is made out of Lion Brand Scarfy Light. I believe it's the colorway Tiger Lily, and it does correlate with that bobble stitch hat. I am gonna go ahead and keep it for now. I think that I will pull it. I think I will wear it in the future. It is pretty soft and it's fuzzy on purpose, so that means that if it gets a little pilly, it's not a big deal. Okay, so let's take a minute and let's see if we can maybe match up a couple of things and put them back on the shelves. Wow, okay. That worked out a lot better than I thought. And hey, you know what I could still do? I can put Granddaddy's beret with the alpaca scarf as kind of keepsake. So that would be amazing. All right, so 7 different sets of winter accessories, hat and scarf sets. Okay, I can deal with that. You know, I only have one head. There are 7 days in the week. I'm gonna put these back on the shelf and I'll catch up with you here in a minute. It's a small change, but I think it will make a big difference when I am looking at my kind of crochet setup. Now, I do have other things that I need to clean up and put back together, but for now, this little piece has made a big difference in my life. So thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Thank you for listening as I ramble and sort through kind of life and talk about yarny philosophy along with everything else. And yeah, if I'm not your cup of tea, thank you so much for listening this long. I do appreciate you, and I do hope I'll see you again soon. Bye.